Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today I'm going to be ranking every single San Andreas Mercenaries DLC vehicle in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now obviously the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC was a bit of a questionable one because we got 14 new vehicles, but we lost 188 cars out of the game. So, you know, we're down 174. You know what? The vehicles that they added were pretty shit. So anyways, we're going to be ranking them all today in order of worst to best. So let's go ahead and get started with number 15. At number 15, I have 188 vehicles that were removed from being purchasable in Grand Theft Auto Online by ROCKSTAR. So shout out to ROCKSTAR because that's just awesome. So yeah, that's a good way to start a DLC. So yeah, sweet. Thanks, ROCKSTAR. Let's move on to number 14. And at number 14, we have an e-bike? Yeah, we have this is the Inductor, and it costs $50,000, and it's bicycle. It does have a boost though, so I'd say it's almost worth it. Yeah, so this sucks. Yeah, it's terrible. So yeah. Let's move on to 13. At number 13, we have the Streamer 216 coming in at $2,238,000. This plane is worthless. I don't really fully understand what the point of this plane is. It does seem to glide with the engines off, and it looks like a glider a little bit, but I can think of about 1,000 other vehicles that I would have rather had over the Streamer 216 that would have been, you know, probably cheaper than it, or maybe around the same price. But regardless, it's a vehicle that I don't think anybody actually asked for or wanted in Grand Theft Auto Online because it doesn't really, it doesn't really do anything. So yeah, that's it for 13. Let's talk about number 12. At number 12, we have the Avenger upgrades, I guess. Technically sort of somewhat new. It's an old vehicle, but the upgrades for it definitely changed it around a lot. They added the mission control terminal, which costs $1.4 million, plus machine guns and missiles that you can also put on the Avenger that are controllable by the pilot. They also added a lock-on jammer and stealth mode for when it's in autopilot, which is pretty useless, and they also allowed you to store it in the hangar. It's kind of interesting, but it doesn't really do much for the Avenger. I mean, it's kind of cool to have access to those as the pilot, but it's not really that great. And adding the lock-on jammer and stealth mode for when it's in autopilot is almost the most useless thing I can possibly imagine. When it's sitting in the sky dead still, a missile lock-on jammer or stealth mode. So when it's hovering in the air, very, very easily visible, you can have it in stealth mode or have the missile lock-on jammer for when it's sitting still. So the RPGs definitely couldn't just hit it okay, yeah, for sure. No, it's a good upgrade. Good, great, awesome. Let's move on to number 11. And at number 11, we have the Vapid Click Wagon for $1,205,000. And at this point, I don't really know what we're doing. What are we doing? What are we doing here? It's like the Vapid Click itself is like a cool car. We definitely didn't need the wagon variant of it. It does almost nothing for GTA Online. I would argue that there's probably maybe 3 or 4 people on Earth that like are happy the Vapid Click Wagon got added over something like a Trackhawk or like an SVJ or pretty much anything else. I don't know why they added this. I really don't. It's kind of beyond me. Shout out to ROCKSTAR Games, I guess. Let's talk about number 10. And next up at number 10, we have the first like sort of mildly cool / okay vehicle. It's the Vapid Ratel. It goes for $1,873,000, and it's just a bad version of a trophy truck. Pretty much, it's rear-wheel drive only. It's not very good at off-roading. If you go over bumps, it's gonna lose itself pretty easily. It's largely due to the rear-wheel drive, but also just how the vehicle's set up. I don't think it's very good at off-roading. It is kind of relatively okay on a flat surface, but it's kind of a sad vehicle, to be completely honest. It's just not very good at what it's supposed to be good at. So yeah, the Vapid Ratel, another one that I feel like a lot of people would have rather had, you know, a new G-Wagon, maybe a McLaren 765 LT. Yeah, the list goes on. Let's talk about number 9. At number 9, we have the first like actual like pretty decent car and it's the Albany Brigham. It's coming in at just under $1.5 million, just $1,499,000. It's kind of a cool Ghostbusters inspired car with some decent customization. The performance is pretty awful, but you shouldn't expect it to be good. It's extremely long, and I think it is technically a hearse, or it could definitely be a hearse, because it does have some coffin options that you can put in the back of it, so that is kind of cool. Overall, it's a decent vehicle. It's a nice, like, novelty thing to have, I would say. It's decent. That's it for the Brigham at number 9. Let's talk about number 8. At number 8, we have the Bravado Hot Ring Hellfire, coming in at $1,810,000. It's a decent hot ring car. Beyond that, it's not super, like, awesome. It's kind of just average. It does have a really cool air brake feature with this air brake that comes up on the roof when you do decide to brake, which means it does actually brake really well. It's probably one of the best braking cars in the entire game. Not really sure when that's going to be useful other than in racing, but yeah, it's kind of neat. Doesn't have much in the way of customization as you would probably expect for being basically a NASCAR. Overall, the Hot Ring Hellfire is a pretty decent vehicle. It is deserving of number 8. Let's go ahead and talk about number 7. At number 7, we have the DeClasse Walton L35, coming in at $1,670,000. This is actually a pretty cool vehicle. It's got some decent customization options. It's got a decent amount of ground clearance. It looks good generally, and the performance kind of backs it up. It's pretty quick. Not the fastest vehicle ever, but it is a truck, so you can't really expect too much out of it. But it is a very decent vehicle, and I think it does deserve to be at number 7 on this list for sure. With that being said, let's talk about number 6. At number 6, we have the Maibotsu Monstrosity, coming in at $1,485,000, and this is an Imani Tech capable 2-door SUV that does also have an HSW upgrade available for it as well. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't have an armor upgrade, so it is just Imani Tech, so you can put a missile lock-on jammer on it and then HSW, but it doesn't have any additional armor. However, there is a glitch, and I'm not sure if it's still 100% working right now. I've heard unconfirmed things from many people, but I have heard that if you put a certain sun strip on this car, it becomes very, very armored, like it does have Imani Tech armor on it, plus a little bit more. I've heard it can take like 14 RPGs, which is pretty crazy. The Monstrosity has a super tight turning circle. It's also really fast, and it is just generally a very good vehicle, actually. It's one of those ones that I didn't expect to be very good at all when I first saw that it was coming out, but after using it a little bit, my mind was definitely changed, and it is actually genuinely a very, very good little vehicle. So pick up a Monstrosity, it is 100% worth it. And next up, we have the Buckingham Weaponized Canada, coming in at $3,385,000. This thing is garbage, but as far as this DLC's vehicle selection goes, it's pretty good compared to everything else that we got, which I will just add that is very, very sad. Because the Buckingham Weaponized Canada is basically a worse buzzard. It is a buzzard that is double the price and worse in pretty much every single way. This thing might have a little bit of additional armor over the buzzard, but its machine guns are trash, its homing missiles are pretty much the same as the buzzards, and it's just not that good, unfortunately. It is very quick. It is one of the faster armed helicopters. In fact, I think it might even be the fastest armed helicopter in the entire game. It's not very good. Like, offensively, it's not very good. Like, if you're trying to attack people with the Weaponized Canada and they're in a buzzard, you're probably going to lose because it's just simply not that good, which is very unfortunate, but it is what it is, I guess. There you have it. At number 5, the Buckingham Weaponized Canada. Next up at number 4, we have the Bravado Buffalo EVX, coming in at $2,140,000. Now, I'm not a big fan of EVs, and I'm not a super big fan of what Dodge is doing with EVs, but I have to say this is a relatively cool electric muscle car. The first of its kind in Grand Theft Auto Online, and it does have Imani Tech, which is pretty great, as well as a very high top speed for an electric vehicle. However, like most cars in this DLC, the customization falls very, very short. There's not much that you can do to this thing other than some very basic like muscle car customization sort of thing. Obviously, due to it being electric, you lose out on like exhaust options, engine options, things like that, which is trash, but what can you do, I guess. Overall, I definitely would have rather got a Trackhawk or a Durango Hellcat or a TRX or pretty much anything else that Bravado would make. But yeah, we got the EVX, so yeah, it's still relatively decent, so it does deserve to be at number 4, which is kind of sad to think about. Anyways, on to number 3. And at number 3, we have the Grotti Italia GTO Stinger TT, coming in at $2,380,000. This is now the vehicle with the highest top speed in all of Grand Theft Auto Online, with an HSW upgrade applied to it, topping out at 172 miles per hour, which is pretty awesome. However, the handling is a different story because it cannot turn. I shouldn't say it cannot turn, it just cannot turn well. It doesn't have enough downforce. The tires are not wide enough to actually have grip throughout a corner or when you start accelerating with this vehicle either. Unfortunately, in my opinion, the looks and the customization both fall quite short. I think that the front end of this car is horrendously ugly, especially the grille options and everything like that. I don't think the Ferrari Roma in real life looks all that great, which this thing is based off of heavily, so that might be part of the issue, but I just don't think it's that great looking of a vehicle. The spoiler options are really lackluster. It's just kind of a strange vehicle when it comes to the customization options and everything to do with that. So it's here at number 3. It's not the greatest vehicle ever, but it also does have a Monty Tech, which is a huge bonus on top of the HSW and being able to top out at 172 miles per hour. It definitely is deserving of 3rd place in my opinion. So that's it for the Grotti Italia GTO Stinger TT at number 3. Let's move on to number 2. We have the Pinaude for $1,990,000. This is a very good Imani Tech electric rally car. Another electric car, go figure. It actually does have really good performance though in the sports category with HSW applied to it. It's actually the fastest sports car for circuit racing in all of Grand Theft Auto Online, which is kind of crazy to think about, and it's faster than the Italia GTO, which is the former fastest, by I think 2 or 3 seconds according to Bruffy1322, who does very reliable testing on these cars. It's pretty crazy. Now, without HSW applied to it, it's not that great of a car. It's actually pretty average. It's above average, but it's not like anything super special. So if your platform doesn't have HSW, you probably don't even want to buy the Pinaude because it's just not really super worth having. But regardless, it is still a pretty decent car, and it is very good off-road, especially considering that it is rear-wheel drive only. It does have some really good off-road handling, I think due to the fact that it is supposed to be some form of an electric rally car. So there you have it. That's it for number 2 with the Pinaude Le Carousse. And now, of course, at number 1, it's the vehicle you were expecting to be at number 1. It's the F-160 Raju. It is the best vehicle from the DLC by a long shot. And I want people to understand that the gap between the Pinaude Le Carousse and the Raju is like, I would put 10 more spots in between there if there were 10 vehicles that were even close to being decent enough to get in between the Pinaude and the Raju. Now, in case somehow you've been sleeping under a rock for the past few months, the Raju is the best fighter jet in Grand Theft Auto Online now. I know the Starling guys and the Pyro guys are going to be in the comments just, whoa bro, I don't care, shut up. The Raju goes for $5,141,250. Up to $6,855,000, and it truly is the best overall plane in GTA Online now. It comes with stealth mode similar to the Akula. You can toggle it on or off. With stealth mode off, you get access to all of your weaponry and everything like that. With it on, you lose access to all of that. This thing also has vertical takeoff and land, otherwise known as VTOL, comes with homing missiles, non-homing missiles, and explosive guns. It is insanely good. It also accelerates faster than the Laser and the Hydra both, which is crazy. It's such a good jet. It is just such a good jet. You could also put race handling on it, put armor on it, everything like that, so that makes it a ton better as well. Overall, the F-160 Raju is easily the best vehicle from the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC, without a doubt in my mind. So there you have it. That is it for my ranking of the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC vehicles in Grand Theft Auto Online. I know this list is 100% factual and correct, so you can let me know that in the comments down below, and if you disagree, well, there's something wrong with you. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, dislike if you didn't, of course. Subscribe to my channel if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Hey, yes.